Hey everyone, Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas, all about Big Blue. So I'd like to do a little bit of a reflection on the last couple of years with an eye towards the upcoming NFL draft. I think we've had a decent, good offseason so far. I think we've made a couple of good moves, good additions. We've made a couple of smart non-additions, like we didn't pay Tyler Linderbaum, $30 million a year to outbid his new team. Good idea. We didn't give Wan'Dale Robinson $20 million a year to keep him. Good idea. So I think we've done well in terms of who we did add and in terms of who we didn't. Could we have done even better? Sure. I would have loved to have signed Leo Chenal. Washington now has, crazy inside linebacker talent. That makes me a little nervous. Should we have maybe increased our price a little bit more for Jalen Watson, the cornerback from the Chiefs who signed with the Rams? Sure, but I don't know that he would have come here because he kind of wanted to go with his buddy, Trent McDuffie, who also went to the Rams, maybe. So maybe we did put in a solid offer and he just didn't accept it. So yeah, where we are right now, I'm okay with. We kept the Luminor, that was huge. We added Likely, that's very good, especially since we lost Bellinger. Um, Et cetera, et cetera. Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin, we've made some good moves. But we still have some holes, and the draft is coming up. And there's been a lot of talk about whether we should add Jeremiah Love or Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs or whatever. There's obviously probably 8 or 10 players who it wouldn't shock us if we wound up picking with our first pick of the draft, whenever that is. Like we're scheduled to be fifth, but we might trade down so we can get the guard from Penn State or whatever. So what I'd like to do is to take a look back on the last 2 seasons before this one to get a sense of where do we think wins will come from. In other words, we've been pretty bad. We were 3-14 in 2024 and 4-13 in 2025. In order to get significantly more W's in 2026, we have to make some changes, right? The same run it back guys aren't going to suddenly be 13-4. So the first thing we did was we changed the coaching staff, right? So as you see, this is 2024 here. The primary starter was Brian Daboll as head coach, Mike Kafka as offensive coordinator, Shane Bowen as defensive coordinator. In 2025, we wound up having some second string there too, right? Meaning that Daboll and Daboll and Bowen were fired. Kafka moved up to head coach. Tim Kelly became offensive coordinator. Charlie Bolden became defense coordinator. So we actually had some backup, some depth on the coaching staff. And then you'll see in 2026, we now have John Harbaugh, Matt Nagy, and Denard Wilson. And hopefully that doesn't need a second string and does a great job. Okay, but now looking down at the roster. So the 2024 season, we started off with Daniel Jones as our first string quarterback with Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito backing him up. We had Devin Singletary as a featured back. All of us who loved Saquon Barkley and were pissed that he was gone were like, we have the wrong 26, yada, yada, yada. But it was Devin Singletary. Got a little Eric Gray sampling every now and then. And Tyrone Tracy was the primary backup, and he wound up having a very good year. Malik Neighbors was a rookie then. Darius Slayton was still here. Wanda Robinson was still here. We had Isaiah Hodgins and Jalen Hyatt backing them up. Theo, Daniel Bellinger, Chris Manhurst were the primary tight ends. And we ran 3 tight end sets fairly often, actually. Certainly 2 tight end sets a lot. Here's the offensive line: AT, Runyon, JMS, GVR, and Illuminor. This was the depth, the backups, some of whom got to play because of injuries. Here's the defense. Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau were the edge rushers in 2024 with Boogie Basham. Remember him? Tomon Fox. And remember Azeez Ojulari were kind of our depth at edge. Dexter Lawrence obviously was nose tackle. People like Casey Rogers and Jordan Riley and Armand Watts. I should have added DJ Jameson in here. He should be in here. Raheem Nunez-Roches was here. ILD3, interior defensive lineman 3, I put not applicable because we rarely had 3 interior defensive linemen, despite my constant pounding the table that we needed it. Every now and then we did, and Elijah Chapman was one of the people who also got some reps there. Oh, I think I had put DJ Davis in here originally, and then I realized what I should say is not applicable because we really weren't in three interior defensive lineman sets very often. But then I forgot to put his name somewhere else. My bad. Linebackers, the inside linebackers were Bobby Kerrick and Micah McFadden with Darius Musow and Isaiah Simmons. Remember him as the backups? He would come in on third down on passing downs for Micah McFadden for much of the year because Micah McFadden is not very good in coverage. We had Tay Banks and Adoree Jackson and Trey Hawkins and Nick McLeod and Cordell Flott and a cast of characters attempting to play outside corner, boundary corner. We had Drew Phillips, we had Art Green, we had slot corners. We had Tyler Nubin's rookie year and Jason Pinnock were the starting safeties with Dane Belton coming off the bench as the third safety. Raheem Lane, Anthony Johnson, etc. The special teams, we had Graham Gano, Jude McAtamney, and even Jamie Gillen kick a little bit, not well, but a few times. As our place kickers, Jamie Gillen was the punter, Casey Crider was the long snapper, Gunner and Amir Smith-Marset were the primary kick returners, and Amir Smith-Marset was the primary punt returner. So that was 2024, and that produced 3-14. 2025, some changes. Like I said, we had some changes in coaching staff in the middle of the season. Russell Wilson started the year as a starter, but for most of the year was Jackson Dart with Jameis Winston as the backup. He was actually the backup the whole year. Like when Russell Wilson got demoted, he basically went to QB3, pretty much. Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scatterboo were the primary feature running backs until Scatterboo got hurt, and Devin Singletary was the kind of backup. But then Scatterboo got hurt, so was Tracy and Singletary, as you know. Neighbors played 2.5 games, I believe. Got hurt in the third game against the Chargers. I was there, so he wasn't there very long, but he was clearly penciled in as a starter. Darius Slayton was there. Wandale was still here. We had a little Jordan Humphrey sighting for a couple of minutes, and he did very well. And then we couldn't afford him because Shane's a terrible GM, and so Denver took him from us. And then Isaiah Hodgins came in. Jalen Hyatt had like 5 catches, but gave up 3 interceptions. He had 13 targets and 5 catches. So 8 passes that were thrown to him weren't caught by him, but 3 of them were caught by the other team, which is insane. Bo Collins also got a few snaps. So did Gunner, actually. I think Gunner wasn't a bad wide receiver. Yeah, I should probably put him here next to Bo Collins. Theo, Daniel Bellinger, Chris Manhertz, and then Thomas Fedone was the rookie who we kept instead of Greg Dulcich, which I didn't quite understand, and he barely got on the field. Here was the offensive line. James Hudson is a name I hope I never have to say again, but he was at least week 1 backup left tackle, and then Marcus Bowe took over as the swing tackle after that. John Runyon, JMS, GVR, Jermaine Illuminor, and this starting 5 was actually a middle of the pack starting 5. I think they were ranked like 15th or 16th overall by some rating services. And considering that we had been like 31st or 32nd overall for like 5 years, that felt amazing to have an okay offensive line. Greg Van Roten is currently not signed. John Runyon, I don't believe, is very good. And JMS is getting better, but it's still, at best average. So I'm not thrilled with this offensive line by any means, but they had a better year last year than we've had from our offensive line forever. Brandon Thibodeau with Carter coming off the bench, although he probably played, just as many snaps as Kayvon, if not more, before Kayvon got hurt. Victor Dimu KJ was, the Tomon Fox kind of role of fourth edge that barely was supposed to play. Dexter Lawrence, Darius Alexander, Roy Robertson Harris, Joaquim Nunez Roches. That was kind of the interior rotation. Chauncey Golston got hurt a lot, didn't play as much as he should and could have, or would have, I should say. We didn't have a third interior defensive lineman very often this year either. DJ Davidson did get some snaps. Elijah Chapman did get some snaps towards the end of the year, finally, when Charlie Bullen took over. Bobby O, Micah McFadden for like a few minutes until he got hurt and was out for the season, and then Darius Musow, and then he got hurt, and Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, and then he got hurt, and then Chris Board, and then it was a rotating inside linebacker nightmare. Paulson Adebo, Cordell Flott. Flott is gone now. Cordell Flott in the first few weeks, Cordell Flott and Deontay Banks kind of shared the role, but then Flott kind of took it over as the season progressed. Drew Phillips as the primary slot corner. Tyler Nubin, who's terrible, Javon Holland, and Dane Belton, who I don't think is very good either. So this is what we had last year, not to mention a variety of kickers. I forgot the other guy. It was another guy who kicked for a hot minute after McIntyre, but before Sauls. I forgot his name, but whatever. We had four place kickers last year. That's not a thing. Uh, Jay McGillen is gone now. Graham Gano is going to be gone when he gets healthy enough to get cut without an injury settlement. Casey Kreider is gone now. Um, Hopefully Gunnar will still be our primary kick and punt returner. And if Tay Banks makes the team, I guess he'll be the second kick returner, although I'm happy for him to not make the team. So that produced 4-13. Not very good. So to get better than that, we need to change things. And we have changed a lot of things, starting with, like I said, this front top line right here. Head coach, offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, big changes there. And that's probably worth 2 wins, you would think, a year, easy, just because we have better coaching and get the players ready to play and not making games, mistakes. Jackson Dart is going to be day one starter. Like we know that from now. So he's not going to be getting, fewer reps in the offseason and in the preseason and in the first couple of weeks. It's going to be his job. So he should be better for that reason, plus the fact that he's now in his second year, not his rookie year. The running back room still looks very solid. That's why I don't think we need another running back. I think, we're fifth in the league in rushing yards, fifth in the league in rushing yards. How much better would our record have been if we were fourth in the league or third or even first in the league? I don't think that's where the W's come from. So why do we need to get better there? Fifth in the league in rushing is fine. It's more than fine. It's very, very good. Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, there's a lot of Darius Slayton hating. I guess one could argue that I've been doing some of it. I don't hate Darius Slayton. Two things. One, I think that we could get better value out of the $10 million that we would save if we traded him. So a $10 million boost to our salary cap could bring in someone somewhere more valuable than Darius Slayton is my opinion. And second, kind of on a personal note, Darius Slayton right now is the 12th leading receiver in Giants history in terms of yards receiving. If he has a very Darius Slayton-esque 600-yard year this year, he'll be fifth. I can't stomach Darius Slayton as the fifth highest all-time Giant receiver. This bothers me. I just don't want to think. And if he has a good year, if he has 700 yards, he'll be third. I'm not feeling that. So I've mentioned that in other episodes. I want him to not be that high on the Giants all-time list because 20 years from now, 10 years from now, some kid's going to look that up and say, oh, Darius Slayton, he must have been pretty good. He's third all-time leading receiver in Giants history. He's not that good. He's good, but he's not that good. So that's a silly reason for me not to want him, but I can be silly sometimes. Sue me. Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin, those are the replacements basically for Wan'Dale, as is Isaiah Likely, because he actually plays the slot more than inline tight end. We lost Andre, that breaks my heart. But we still have Theo and Manhurts. The offensive line, we don't have a right guard yet. Please don't tell me it's Kubis or Neal or Azudu. I'm not having it. So the things in blue are the areas where I think we still need significant upgrades. And yeah, I think John Runyon is another place we need significant upgrades. I was tempted to say JMS, but I'll go ahead and say that JMS is a solid enough center where that's a lower priority given the other priorities we have. What you see on the blue. I love the two tackles, at least in pass protection. Yeah, I think that this rotation of Burns, Kayvon, and Abdul Carter is fine. We need depth. Having three good edge rushers is not a luxury. That's a need. So unless someone blows us out of the water with an offer for Kayvon, I do not want to trade Kayvon. Certainly not before the trading deadline. Now, if the trade deadline comes along and we're, 0-8 and, for whatever reason, look horrible, and someone offers us, like a second round pick next year because they're an edge rusher away from competing, that's a conversation I'm willing to have because obviously I don't really want to pay Kayvon Thibodeaux, $15 million next year. Next year meaning 2027, which is probably whatever. I don't want Kayvon forever, but I do think starting week one this year, it'd be good to have him. We need an upgrade over Roy Robinson Harris, who's not a bad player, but I just think we need an upgrade over that at interior defensive line. And we need to be in a tight front, 3 interior defensive linemen. So this space should be filled. Darius Alexander, Roy Robinson Harris, and Sam Roberts are very good depth. I think right now it's hard to know if Darius Alexander is going to take that big leap forward that we're hoping he will and become a better than average interior defensive lineman. But last year, towards the end of the year, he showed flashes of at least having some pass rush juice. But we need a run stuffing defensive tackle or two, and that's why this is blue. Mike McFadden is not the answer for 3-down inside linebacker. He wasn't the answer before his injury as a 3-down inside linebacker. So we need to get better at inside linebacker. He also still misses a few too many tackles, even on first and second down in the run game. Always in the right place. He does a good job of getting to the point of attack. I'll give him that. And he's a better athlete than I give him credit for. Shout out to Big Blue View for people who pointed that out to me. But he still misses about 15% of his tackles, which is a little high for an inside linebacker for my liking, especially if you're only a 2-down inside linebacker who comes off the field on passing downs. If you're the run stuffing inside linebacker, then your missed tackle rate needs to be like 5% if you're the starter. Okay, Greg Newsome may well bounce back and have a solid year for us, and I would love that, but I certainly wouldn't not draft a cornerback because of Greg Newsome. Paulson Adebo it doesn't seem to me to be a CB1, but I think he's a pretty solid CB2. So if we were to get another cornerback that would be CB1, Mansour Delane, then we get better at two positions, right? Because then our CB2 becomes Paulson Adebo rather than Greg Newsome, and certainly rather than Deonte Banks. And our CB1 becomes better than Paulson Adebo is as a CB1. So that's a very important position. Mansour Delane just ran a 4.38 40 at his pro day. Now it's a pro day 4.38. So maybe he's a 4.4. Maybe he's a 4.41. That's still plenty fast enough. I was worried that his pro day time would be 4.6, which means he's probably 4.8 or 4.9, and that's too slow to play CB1. But 4.38-ish is more than fast enough, and his tape looks outstanding. So I think I'm putting him ahead of Caleb Downs now as my second favorite pick at number 5 overall. Obviously, Sonny Styles is still my favorite pick. I want Sonny Styles if he's on the board, period, full stop. But if he's off the board, and I think he will be, then Mansour Delane would be fine with me. Getting better at this position and therefore at these two positions is a big deal. And badly as we need somebody here and here, I think if we trade down with pick 37 to, like, say, the middle of the second round, maybe even, pick 55 or so, but add a third round pick, I think we can get one of each of those in the second and the third, which will be fine. Will certainly be upgrades of what we have now. So best upgrade available, BUA, is my theory, my philosophy. And I think the best upgrade we can do is Sonny Styles first and foremost, but if he's gone, then Mansour Delane. I like Caleb Downs. If Delane is gone also, and I have to take Caleb Downs, that's fine. But one of those three, and then trade down that second round pick to add a third round pick and get an interior defensive lineman and an interior offensive lineman, second and third round picks. Sorry, Mazo. I know you really want us to get a wide receiver, but I just don't see that before the fourth round. There are too many good players at positions that we need more than wide receiver. If Caleb Downs were to be the pick, sure, I would love to have Caleb Downs bump Jason Pinnock down to this position where Tyler Newman is listed and put Tyler Newman on the bench, and have Caleb Downs and Javon Holland as our starting safeties and Jason Pinnock as the third one off the bench. That would make me very happy also. So if that's what winds up happening, I'm fine with that. And Ben Sauls is winning the kicking competition. Keep the receipts. I'm telling you now, if there's a fair and open kicking competition, Ben Sauls is winning it. That man has a great leg. Yes, he's left-footed, and that can be a little tricky for holders, whatever. But you know what? Get over it. And Jordan Stout is one of the best punters in the league, so I think our special team is going to be a lot better. I hope this guy, Zach Triner, who we just signed, is a good enough long snapper. Casey Kreider was very reliable, and we never had a question about him, but he's gone now. He, went on to Minnesota, I believe it was. And so our special teams is something that John Harbaugh is going to take very seriously. He's known for that. So I know this is going to be a stronger unit than it has been, and I think this is going to be the unit. So again, what I came here for is to say, well, how do we turn the draft into W's? Where do we need to get better that becomes wins? And a lot of people saying wide receiver or running back, but you're telling me you think that the 5th pick overall, making our running back room slightly better, is a bigger contributor to our W's than taking these places that I have in blue and making them significantly better, you're wrong. Period, flat out, full stop. You're wrong. That is not going to translate into wins like getting better at interior defensive line or offensive line or inside linebacker, like getting better at cornerback or safety. I'm sorry, I don't care. If, like I said last time, if it's a 22-year-old Jim Brown, sure, sign me up. But it's not. That guy's not coming. And as much as I think Jeremiah Love is an electric talent, we have a very good running game. Get over it, move on. The W's will come when we get much better at places that we're bad at. That's how the NFL works. Whatever you're bad at, the other team exploits it. You know, they have films too. They watch your games too. So if you're bad at interior defensive line, that's where they're going to beat you. If you're bad at safety, that's where they're going to beat you. If you're inside linebackers can't run sideline to sideline and make tackles and cover people, then that's where they're going to beat you. So until you are at least reasonably good at almost every position, then it doesn't matter if you're a little bit better at one position. It's just how the world works. So that's what I think strongly, but I'd love to know what you think. So please take a minute. And if you love the Giants like I love the Giants, if you're excited about the draft like I'm excited about the draft, and if you have any thoughts or comments about any of these people I have in blue, people or slots that I have in blue, if you see another path forward to turning 2026 into a 8 or 9 win team at least, drop us a comment. Like, share, subscribe, all those good things. Let us know that you want to see more about what we do and have more comments about what we do and what we say. So again, Clay from Brooklyn, Football with the Fellas. It is all about Big Blue. It is, as usual, our season, the off season. We are all about it and we're here for it and we want you to be too. All right, guys. Peace.